Hello, everyone. How are you? I'd like to give my own take on the 4B movement that's trending right now on these YouTube streets, as you like to say. I've got a number of things that I want to say about it. I like it. This may be the great reset, as I've heard some people say, the return of the divine mother feminine, the feminine energy, and the response to the times. With times, people change. As things change, as the landscape change, so do the people. What's really interesting about this is I'm hearing that this is a movement that started in Korea and that Americans are trying to adopt it. The women in the West are trying to adopt this. But before this was came over here, women had started decentering. You were seeing a lot of things of decentering men, divesting, women putting more time into themselves because of a lot of distrust, misogyny, disrespect from males. Many women have been doing this. They didn't make a declaration, they didn't make a public declaration. They just looked at the situation before them and they said, this isn't worth it. This isn't worth it. I am better off being on my own. And that's what they're doing. And when I was trying to do some research on Korea, in addition to the ill treatment that they were undergoing with men, a big problem is the economy. They say it's too expensive, and it's too expensive right here. Look at the cost of eggs. Eggs from Whole Foods is $8.99. Okay, it's expensive. Child care, home ownership being a myth for some, rents astronomical. These are not times that make it attractive to want to have a family. And black women in the West have it harder. Many of them, they're not finding great mates. So now she has to be the head of the household, carrying everything. And one of your leaders said that in these hard times that if the man can only pay the light bill, that should be sufficient enough for you, and an occasional dinner every now and then. So that doesn't exactly make it very attractive to be in a family and all that it demands. And then I'm hearing the uproar and the backlash from men, and I don't understand what's the annoyance, because I was hearing about there were movements like men going their own way. They were talking about the passport, going overseas to get wives, which I greatly encourage. And with the incoming of the migrants, you may not even have to go overseas. You might be able to get your pick of the litter right here, save you the money. So what is the issue? What's the problem? It should be a win-win situation for everyone involved. So I like the 4-3B movement. It's better to be on your own. You're not subjecting yourself to a lot of nasty diseases. There have been studies and statistics of married women in their married relationships, contracting HIV. And they're married and they're doing the right thing and they're trusting their husbands. And the thanks they get is to have a disease, an incurable disease. And while there's, treatment and people are living longer, there's still some fatalities. So what's the problem? Again, as you said, get the passports, go overseas to the better women, supposedly better women. I don't understand why people are mad. Another thing I've heard was that the women who are participating in this movement were the rejects, the undesirables. Well, let me tell you something about that. I had a friend, her name was Heather. Heather was what you would call a dime piece. Looked like Pam Grier, had the beautiful fro, and fantastic body. She was just drop dead gorgeous. And I asked her, why didn't you ever get married? And you know what she said to me? She said her mother had 7 kids, and she said, I didn't see what marriage did for my mom. She said she never saw her mother smile. Her mother always looked exhausted and tired, and she didn't see what benefit there was to getting married. And then so she had made this decision already as a child, seeing it. And then as she navigated through life, she didn't see anything wonderful about any of these relationships. She said it was just one problem after another. And like I said, since those of you who want to focus so much on people's looks and desirability, she had it by every stretch of the imagination. But she just said to herself that she wasn't doing this. So people have been doing this. Smart women, they don't follow the status quo. Intelligent people don't follow the status quo. They look at a situation and decide, is this working for them? They don't do what everyone else is doing. See, everyone else does what's approved, what people like, what you're supposed to do. And that has caused a lot of problem. And those who speak for themselves and do for themselves and follow their own rules, they find happiness. So I guess others will emulate to their benefit or their detriment. But I think it's a great thing. And here is another thing. Women who have great marriages and great husbands, they're not joining the movement. Every individual does what works for them. I do not believe that any woman in their right mind who has a fulfilling relationship, a great husband, is going to join. People do what they choose based on what works for them. So I support it 100%. Do whatever makes you happy. If getting married is going to make you happy, by all means. I'm not here to tell you not to do that. If decentering men is going to make you happy, by all means. And I've seen many women, they seem to do better. As I was coming up, I saw a lot of women who were on the right track got messed up, and it was all through men. Men derailed their life. So I don't blame them. More power to them.